Um, a little bit of background about the objectives that we were set when in 2001 we were selected by South Tyneside Council as their preferred development partner. I might just say it was a bit of a risk for South Tyneside at that point, because in those days Enterprise 5 was only managing 2,500 properties. This was a huge scheme. We were up against the larger housing associations operating in the region, some of the larger nationals, Home Group, Guinness Trust, people of that sort of ilk. And we were selected as their preferred partner because they believed that we could engage with the community more successfully than some of the others. And the brief was really quite interesting. Before I just talk a little bit about it, I'll just give you a bit of background on the estate. That's the before picture. And the estate was built in the 20s. It's interesting in that it was about 1,000 units strong. About 200 units of the accommodation were actually built for sale at that time, built in exactly the same vernacular. So it was actually a mixed tenure development, well ahead of its days. And in that sense, there was always a history of owner-occupation on the estate. So when Right to Buy took a hold, the interspersed Right to Buy properties alongside those that were built for sale at the time meant that it has always been a mixed tenure scheme. But over the last 15 or 20 years, the scheme spiralled into decline, like many northern estates of its type. Huge void levels on the estate. In parts of the estate, void levels were reaching 70%. Lots of tinned up properties, lots of vandalism, lots of arson and crime, and it was spiralling further out of control. The stock condition, as you can see from that slide, was dreadful. The roofs were falling apart, the floors were heaving, the floors were heaving, and the roofs were spreading. Stock condition was awful, and there was no real possibility in terms of cost benefit of achieving the refurbishment of those homes to reach decent home standard. So it really did require a radical solution in trying to transform the estate and create a new sense of place in Clevedon Park. Levels of deprivation, just like Steve was saying about Northmoor, were enormously high. I think we're in the bottom 2% of indices of local deprivation across the piece. And even further than that, this estate was a real concentration of deprivation in the sense that many of the properties around it were, as Peter said earlier, were very valuable, so the actual and were in good areas, so that the concentration of deprivation on the estate was enormous. The brief we were given was that we had to do something radical. We all knew that in terms of layout and image, achieving a tenure shift, almost turning the tenure balance on its head from being 70% rental, 30% owner occupation to 60-70% outright sale, 30% for rent, and that is the target that we still hold. The council and the partners wanted exemplary design standards, so we worked very carefully on the design, as I'll outline in a little while, to create a good sense of place and to create something different from any of the other standard estates that have been achieved in the past. So we went through a detailed process of master planning and design to achieve the final outcome. Sustainability was a key watchword as well, in the sense that not just sustainability of the premises in terms of use of modern methods of construction and sustainable materials, but also to create a lasting environment for the people who lived there. This was from the very start coining the old shelter expression, very much about bricks and mortars, not just about bricks and mortar. We recognised that if we didn't get the infrastructure right around the estate in terms of the facilities and community facilities, that this would not last. If we simply brought back what had been there previously, we were asking for trouble. One of the key things about incorporating the PCT in our partnership was that it was, despite its good location in general terms, it was 2 bus rides away for the residents of the estate to visit the doctor. So very, very difficult circumstances for the people who were living on the estate, despite some of the other good location features of it.